Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the real United States. And welcome to the Japanese American Veterans Memorial. Now, I'm relatively certain I got that name right. There is no placard here that tells you the name of this memorial. That is essentially what this is, even if I may have made a mistake in the word order of the name. And this is a small park and monument dedicated to the men of Japanese descent who actually fought in the American forces during World War II. It is also a living apology to the 120,000 men, women, and children who were taken from their homes and put in internment camps during the war. There was a great deal of concern about those of Japanese descent and whether they were going to be loyal to the nation. It was a different time, a different era. I suppose it bears noting that among those 120,000 men, women, and children which were taken from their homes and put in internment camps during World War II, American citizens of Japanese descent, was a very young fellow named George Takei, who would grow up to become an actor and become very famous in the late 1960s for his role as Mr. Sulu on the original Star Trek series. Now, George has gone on and had an illustrious career. He now performs on Broadway. I believe he's well into his 70s and still performing. But he has, still this day, very vivid memories of the hardships that he and his family went through in those internment camps in the 1940s. And in 1988, President Reagan signed the Civil Liberties Act into law and made a formal apology for those actions during the 1940s. This park was then built, this beautiful bronze statue with the two cranes embracing and yet tied by barbed wire. There's a lot of symbolism here that I won't try to explain. I'll leave a link in the description below. You can read a little bit more about this. You'll also notice in the background that the entire thing is surrounded by the classic Yoshino cherry trees, which were, of course, very popular here when they were given to the United States by the nation of Japan back in the early part of the 20th century, and now form the foundation for what is the Cherry Blossom Festival here every spring in Washington, D.C. What you're going to see here all the way around are these beautiful, nice, healthy Yoshino cherry trees. And I think that's appropriate as part of the overall feeling of the friendship and the interaction that have happened between the United States and the nation of Japan. Now, again, certainly during World War II, we went through our problems. But prior to that, the nations were great allies. Since that time, we have had a great deal of interaction and become allies once again. Things change. Now, behind us here, we're going to see there's a beautiful reflecting pond, and in this pond are some very large pieces of granite. Again, this is all built on symbolism. These pieces of granite, as I understand it, symbolize, I believe, the islands of the nation of Japan. But again, I don't want to try and do all from memory what all the symbolism of this monument tries to convey. I'm not an art major or art historian by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know that all of this is built around symbolism. And here engraved in this pink granite, the words of our President Ronald Reagan. And it says, "Here we admit a wrong. Here we affirm our commitment as a nation to equal justice under the law." So I think that President Reagan could not possibly have put it better. So I hope that you've enjoyed this short visit to the Japanese American Veterans Memorial here in Washington, D.C. I hope that you'll subscribe and come along for the adventure. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below, or if you just want to say hi, drop us a line. We love hearing from everyone. We try to get back to everybody we can. And as always, thank you for watching.